What procrastination is really costing you? Hey there, it's Marie Forleo, and welcome. Are you ready to talk about something that affects almost all of us? I'm talking about procrastination. Studies show that a whopping 20% of adults are chronic procrastinators. That's 1 in 5 people regularly putting things off, not just occasionally, but as a way of life. Think about that for a moment. That means in a room of 10 friends, 2 of them are likely battling this beast daily. It's a huge number, and it tells us that if you struggle with this, you are definitely not alone. Procrastination is the act of delaying or postponing tasks, often until the very last minute, or even past their deadline. It's choosing to do something more pleasurable or less daunting instead of what you know you'd be doing. We've all been there, right? That important report sits untouched while we suddenly find an urgent need to organize our spice rack or scroll through social media. The impact of procrastination on our productivity, and frankly our happiness, can be massive. When we put things off, it doesn't just mean tasks get done late. It means we experience a ton of unnecessary stress, anxiety, and guilt. The good news? Like anything, it's figure-outable. And today, we're going to explore how, especially with one super simple yet incredibly powerful rule. So why do we do it? Why do we knowingly sabotage ourselves by putting things off? One of the biggest reasons is the fear of failure. The thought of not doing something perfectly or of trying and not succeeding can be so terrifying that we avoid starting altogether. This fear can be really sneaky because it often masquerades as something else like, I'm just not ready yet or I need to do more research. But deep down, it's that little voice whispering, what if you're not good enough? This fear of failure doesn't just make us hesitate, it can completely paralyze us. Another major culprit behind procrastination is feeling overwhelmed. When a task seems too big, too complicated, or too time-consuming, our natural reaction is to shut down. We look at the mountain ahead of us and think, there's no way I can climb that. This feeling of being overwhelmed can make even the most motivated person want to run for the hills. Recognizing this trigger is crucial for finding strategies that work. Breaking this cycle is key. Let's talk about another sneaky reason we procrastinate: perfectionism. We set impossibly high standards for ourselves, and then we get scared that we won't be able to meet them. So instead of producing something that's good enough, we produce nothing at all. This quest for perfection can be incredibly paralyzing. Perfectionists often find themselves endlessly tweaking, researching, and planning, but never actually the core task. Sometimes the reason for procrastination is simpler: a lack of motivation or unclear goals. If you don't really know you're doing something, or if the reward seems too far off or too vague, it's hard to get excited about it. Decision fatigue can also play a significant role in our tendency to put things off. Simplifying choices and routines can actually help combat procrastination by preserving that precious decision-making power for what truly matters. Okay, so we know why we procrastinate. Now let's talk about how to fight back. One of the most effective strategies is to break tasks into smaller, more manageable steps. Instead of write a book, your first step might be brainstorm chapter ideas for 15 minutes or write 100 words. Each small step feels achievable, and completing it gives you a little win, building momentum for the next step. Think of it like climbing a staircase instead of trying to leap to the top of a building in a single bound. Another fantastic technique that many people swear by is the Pomodoro Technique. You work in focused 25-minute intervals, called Pomodoros, separated by short breaks. This method helps you stay focused, manage distractions, and maintain high energy levels. It tackles procrastination by making the work feel less endless and more structured, giving your brain regular rests. After 4 Pomodoros, you take a longer break, maybe 15 to 30 minutes. This rhythm helps train your brain to focus for short bursts and reassures it that a break is always coming soon, making it easier to dive in. Let's explore a few more powerful tools for your anti-procrastination kit. Time blocking is a game changer for many. This involves scheduling specific blocks of time in your calendar for specific tasks, just like you would schedule a meeting. Creating a distraction-free environment is also absolutely crucial. To truly focus, you need to minimize these interruptions. Setting clear, achievable goals is another cornerstone of beating procrastination. And don't underestimate the power of accountability. Sometimes, just knowing that someone else is aware of your goals can be a huge motivator. The thought of having to report back or not wanting to let others or yourself down, can provide that extra push you need to get started and keep going. The 2-minute miracle, your secret weapon against delay. It's so simple, so effective, and you can start using it literally right now. Are you ready for it? It's called the 2-minute rule. This rule is a fantastic way to stop procrastination in its tracks, especially for those small tasks that pile up or for getting started on bigger projects that feel overwhelming. It's all about making things so easy to start that you can't say no. The 2-minute rule has two parts, but the first part is incredibly straightforward. If a task takes less than 2 minutes to complete, do it immediately. Seriously, that's it. Don't write it down on your to-do list. Don't save it for later. Don't even think too much about it. Just do it. By tackling these micro tasks right away, you clear your mind and your space, and you get a little burst of accomplishment each time. The beauty of this first part of the rule is its sheer simplicity and the immediate reward. It's about training your brain to default to action for small commitments. The simple science, why 2 minutes makes all the difference. Now, let's dive into the second part of the 2-minute rule, which is equally, if not more powerful, especially for those big, daunting goals. This part states, when you start a new habit or tackle a big project, it should take less than 2 minutes to do the initial step. So, read before bed every night becomes read 1 page. Run 3 miles becomes put on my running shoes. Write a novel becomes write 1 sentence. The idea is to make the act of starting so ridiculously easy that you can't possibly say no. It's about lowering the barrier to entry. Why does this tiny trick work so incredibly well? It's all about overcoming inertia and building momentum. Sir Isaac Newton's first law of motion states that an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion. This applies to us humans too. Getting started is often the hardest part. The 2-minute rule bypasses that initial resistance by making the starting point almost effortless. Once you've taken that tiny first step, you've broken the inertia. You're in motion. And often, once you start, you find it much easier to continue for longer than just 2 minutes. It's go time, putting the 2-minute rule into action. So, let's recap what we've covered because understanding is great, but action is where the transformation happens. We know that procrastination is super common. Remember that 20% statistic? We've explored some of the deep-seated reasons why we do it, like fear of failure, feeling overwhelmed by massive tasks, the trap of perfectionism, and sometimes just a plain lack of motivation or clarity. These aren't character flaws, they are human tendencies. But the exciting part is that we also know there are effective strategies to combat this, and we have the power to change our habits. We've talked about breaking big projects into smaller, less intimidating steps, and the power of techniques like the Pomodoro method to help us focus in short, manageable bursts. And then, the star of our show, the 2-minute rule. This beautifully simple concept has 2 parts. If it takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. And when starting something new or big, scale it down so the very first action takes less than 2 minutes. This rule is your permission slip to start small, ridiculously small if necessary. Now, it's your turn to put this into practice. I want you to think about your life right now. What's one small task you've been putting off that you could do in 2 minutes or less? You've got this. Share your journey and keep winning. Remember, consistency is the name of the game when it comes to overcoming procrastination and building new, productive habits. The 2-minute rule is powerful because it makes consistency almost effortless, especially in the beginning. Don't worry about doing everything perfectly or making massive leaps every single day. Focus on those small, consistent actions. Showing up for 2 minutes day after day builds a powerful foundation. It's like dripping water that eventually wears away stone. Those tiny efforts accumulate over time to create significant results, so celebrate each time you choose action over delay. Progress, not perfection, should be your mantra. There will be days when you only manage your 2 minutes, and that's perfectly okay. The goal is to reinforce the habit of starting to keep the momentum alive. There will also be days when those 2 minutes stretch into a longer, super productive session, and that's fantastic too. Be kind to yourself during this process. If you slip up and find yourself procrastinating, don't beat yourself up. Just acknowledge it, and then gently guide yourself back to the 2-minute rule for your next task.